guys, so welcome back to Lex Reads. So before we get started, this portion of the video is sponsored by Pair Eyewear. Now when I tell you guys, look, y'all know I like to shop, right? And I am so excited about this because obviously I wear glasses, and these eyeglasses are so different than any other glasses I've used in the past because let me just show you what they do. Like, I can keep on going, okay? These are magnetic frames where you can change out your frames. I usually always wear the same glasses all the time, but now that I have Pair Eyewear, I'm gonna be changing these up. Y'all gonna be seeing these in so many of my videos, okay? Now, you guys know I'm a neutral type of person, right? So I had to get some neutrals, but I did want to step out of my comfort zone. That's what I did with two of the frames. So first is Van Gogh. I got the Van Gogh Sunflowers. Look at that. Oh, so cute, right? And then I also got another Van Gogh. It's still kind of like muted, but it still is, you know, a lot for me. But I want to try something different. So now my favorites. You guys know I love marble. Anything marble, okay? I had to get these. When I saw these, I'm like, yes. It's like black marble with the gold. Love it. Then, of course, neutrals. Y'all know how much I love browns. I love this, like, caramel brown. It looks so pretty on brown skin. And then the last, I wanted to get like a red maroon type. This reminds me of my college colors. We were maroon and gold. And then I want to show you guys the case. It came with this pretty case. I love this because I can put the glasses and I can put the toppers all into my case. And also too, because these are magnetic, they literally just clamp together like this, so I don't have to worry about losing anything or breaking, and I can put them in the case. So I headed over to the website. I picked my base frame. I personally love the Kirby Black because I love that square shape. Then you pick what prescription you want. They have readers, they have non-prescription, they have the blue light filtering. I love the blue light filtering. That's the one I actually got. Then you pick what top frames you want, and they have so many that you can choose from, so many styles, colors, and everything. I'm a person, I really love neutrals. I love blacks. You guys know that. So yeah. So head over to Pair Eyewear website and use my discount code LexReads15 and get 15% off your first pair. Again, thank you so much to Pair Eyewear for sponsoring this portion of the video. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Black nonfiction books. In honor of Black History Month, I wanted to give you guys some books that are nonfiction that are not just really showcased. And y'all know I like the hidden, you know, gems and hidden figure books. Now, I'm not a nonfiction type of person. Y'all already know that. I like literary fiction. It's rare when I do like a nonfiction book. So first is Our Kind of People by Lawrence Otis Graham. I got this because when Sadiqa Johnson, when she did her last book, The House of Eve, she used this book as inspiration. One of the characters, Eleanor, her husband was from like Black elite, Black society. And this talks about that. It talks about, you know, being a part of Jack and Jill. It talks about colorism, how you have blacks that are prejudiced against other blacks and they want to keep that, you know, they want to keep that light skin, you know, going. And it's just a certain class that, you know, they mingle with. And he talks about that. I love the fact that although it's nonfiction, it reads like a fiction book. I notice a lot of these books that I'm going to talk about, they you know, obviously they have, you know, facts and things like that of the person's life or historical facts, but they do read literary. It's good for me. I tend to get through them, you know, faster and won't DNF them. So yes. Next is Black Radical. This is the life and times of William Monroe Trotter. He was the editor and publisher of The Guardian. Just like the title says, a radical he was. He did not believe of the philosophies of Booker T. Washington and W. Du Bois. He was almost kind of like a Marcus Garvey, but he was a little bit more calmer, because y'all know Marcus Garvey was off the chain. He was also a Harvard graduate. A lot of people don't know about him, but he was a giant, especially when it came to, you know, publications of newspapers and journals and things like that. And I think because, well, clearly because he was Black, but also because he kind of, you know, stirred up, you know, a lot when it came to, you know, Blacks really sticking up for themselves and really just saying, no, you know, I don't believe in that, and it's okay if I don't believe in that. It was a really great autobiography. Next is King of the Cats, The Life and Time of Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. He was real corrupt, okay? He was extremely corrupt. If you guys have watched the movie Rustin that was actually just came out, but there was a scene where you had like him talking really badly about Martin Luther King and, you know, calling him a coon and all that. He was a pioneer and he was a first. He was elected as the first black congressman in Harlem. But his downfall was, y'all, he was corrupt when it came to that money. He actually went to jail because of some little fraud and things like that. He was so charming. And if you watch some interviews and hear him talk, he can grab you. He got that, you know how some of them preachers, they can grab you and kind of take that offering money. He had that real bad, okay? But he was, like I said, he was kind of corrupt. But I think that's why a lot of people don't talk about him, because he's not really seen as a great figure when it comes to, you know, black leaders and things like that. But you gotta give him a little bit of credit, okay? Next is Colin Powell, My American Dream. And now, you know what? I really like this because I didn't know a lot about Colin Powell. I remember growing up associated him with, you know, George Bush, which he was, you know, obviously in his cabinet. But I did not know that his parents were immigrants from Jamaica. And this book, it really does talk about his childhood and how he wanted to get into politics. But in this, you really do see his personal and professional life. Next is The Nation Must Awake. This is by Mary J. Jones Parrish. Now, she was a witness of the Tulsa race massacres in the 1920s, 1921 to be exact, where you had basically white mobs that came and destroyed a whole city and town. And the town was, you know, flourishing, and it was all of these, you know, blacks, and they created their own town, and, you know, the whites didn't like that, so they got rid of it. The crazy thing about this is I did not learn about the Tulsa race massacres until I read a Jacqueline Woodson book. It was called Red at the Bone. And I had never heard of that. That when I tell you they didn't talk about that in school, I had never heard of that ever in my life, which is a shame. It gets into the mind of just how you felt about seeing your town where you live in just diminish, you know what I mean? And the way that they did it and got away with it. Just think about that. You know, you can't go home. You can't go to your house. You can't go to the towns and, you know, walk the streets where you normally walk. It's all gone. So she really did tap into that. Next is one of my favorites of all times, and it is Growing Up X by Ilyasah Shabazz. I've talked about her so many times when it comes to this memoir because it was fantastic. Fantastic. She was the daughter of Malcolm X. You can see her right here. And I love this because you learn about the aftermath. You always, you know, wonder when you have black leaders, when they do get assassinated, you know, how do their families go on? And it was very difficult for her family because, you know, when Malcolm X was assassinated, no one wanted to touch a family, blacks and of course whites. And you had people like Ruby Dee, Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, who else? You know, Ossie Davis really helping Betty Shabazz and her children. And she was able to go back to school and take care of her children because she had 5 kids, you know, and there was no bank account. House got, you know, bombed right before he was assassinated. You see how Betty still kept, you know, their dad's legacy and life around. It's very vague memories of him, but you know, she said, you know, their mom really kept daddy alive. Every time that they would, you know, talk, every time that she would talk to her girl, she would just, you know, talk about what daddy would think, what daddy would say. Such a great autobiography. Love it. Next is Black, White, and Jewish. This is by Rebecca Walker. Rebecca Walker is Alice Walker's daughter. Obviously, she's biracial, and during her time, that was, you know, hard for people to adjust. You know, you had a black mom and a Jewish dad, and her parents were divorced, so she spent some summers with her dad, then she spent some summers with her mom. At one point, she lived with her mom. What else happened to her? She got an abortion when she was a teenager. She stopped talking to her mama for a long time. I mean, she went through it. She really went through it. Talks about, you know, her life throughout her childhood and her adulthood. She knows how to write just like her mama. Next are Anita Hill's books. First, I want to talk about Speaking Truth to Power. Now, I don't have a dust jacket for this because I was being really cheap and got the used version, and I thought it was going to have a dust jacket, and it didn't. But I need to get that because I love the way the cover looks. I'll put it up for you guys. But this was written after the trials with the, what's that boy's name? Clarence Thomas. It's about her childhood. She grew up in Oklahoma. She was one of like 12 or 14 or something like that. Such a brilliant woman. I know she went to Ivy League school. I can't remember which one, but clearly she was brilliant. You mainly see, her personal and professional life and the way she grew up, and I really did appreciate that. So I remember after reading that about 2 or 3 years ago, she came out with another book, and this actually it's not an autobiography, but it's called Believing, and it's about gender violence through marriages. She talks about violence in marriages when it pertaining like sexual violence, verbal and mental, mainly sexual violence, because you do have, which I was shocked and not shocked, you have a lot of marriages that you have men are raping their women, and you would think like, okay, we're married. But she did explore that, and she explored it through like every race. That is a topic that is not heavily discussed, and it needs to be discussed. We need to be aware of it, because you have some of these women where they get killed, or you have some of them where the husbands kill the wives, and nothing really happens. So she did explore that, and I had never read anything pertaining to that subject. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to my nonfiction picks. Again, I only got a handful of them because that's not a genre that I really do explore. I remember telling myself when I started reading nonfiction, I was like, of course I read the typical ones, but I wanted to read books that not a lot of people talk about, because Malcolm X, we know Barack Obama, we know Michelle, who else, it's like, come on now, let's read something else. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you, and I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.